5 now of Hope Over Heroin. My name's Steve, and it is my first time ever getting involved here, so I want to learn from those who have done it and built it and had their lives changed because of it. So let me start with Pastor Billy. What can people expect from a Hope Over Heroin event, and why does it exist?
Well, the reason why it exists is what we're experiencing in our world right now. It's life and death for many of these people. And we've seen that for the last 4 seasons from 2014. And in fact, Cody is an example of the people that get saved, at Hope Over Heroin events. And God's getting ready to bless his life again right now. The next couple of weeks, he's getting married. Amen. And that's a direct result of Hope Over Heroin. And he now leads our Heritage House, which is actually one of the biggest programs in this whole area that's been birthed out of Hope Over Heroin. So the reason is there's people that are dying and people need to be saved eternally. And it'd be a good idea for people who say they love this country to want to save their generation just for the sake of saving their country. But what people can expect from Hope Over Heroin is exactly what the area puts into it. Whatever the churches put into it, they can expect an incredible outpouring. We first came to Hamilton, Ohio in 2014. We had no idea exactly how God was going to do it, but because there were some churches that really just put everything that they had into it, it became very successful. And we could sit there and name that handful of churches that really made that work and made it operate, ministries that really went out and did everything possible to get the word out. And so this is really what those 2 days of on the 8th and the 9th of June in Middletown at Leverson Park, this is where it's going to be happening. You're going to hear that a lot during this moment as we begin to question other people here. That's really, you're going to get 2 days to be able to affect your area. We've seen God just tear through areas like Dayton, Ohio in the last previous 4 seasons that we've done this. We've seen as high as 250 plus people baptized in a 24-hour period in these areas. So if the churches want it, it's there. And that's really what it's all about. It's really about getting people the physical help, our city of refuge, our city of resources. It's a city of refuge for sure. A city of resources that we have. It invites every single medical group, every single Christian outreach group, every single program in an area. So people come to the site and they actually can receive immediate help. And we constantly are doing that and seeing that happen every city we go to. So, that's why we're able to say, 4 years plus of doing this, that we've seen, 5,000 people get saved. We've seen over 2,000 people get baptized on the site. So it's an incredible opportunity, and there's people that if you in any way try to diminish what happens at Hope Over Heroin, you don't know what you're talking about. There's people that are alive today because of Hope Over Heroin. So we're encouraging every single thing that can be done to encourage other people to come to Hope Over Heroin, and that's what this is all about.
I love it. That's awesome testimony. And Cody, let's hear it. Let's hear that testimony. What went down?
So basically, you got churches are just waiting around thinking that they're going to save the world by waiting for people to come into their church, but ultimately that's not going to happen. Anyone who's addicted to drugs feels like a church is the last place they can go because they feel condemned or judged, or they don't feel a part, they feel like an outcast. So going to where drug addicts are and making them feel like they can become a part of something that's bigger than themselves is really what will get it for them. It's easy to get a drug addict to a park because most of them are sleeping on park benches or homeless anyway, but to get them to come into church is very difficult. And if churches are just sitting around waiting for someone else to do it, it will never get done. So, we're just trying to come into a city and touch people that nobody else wants to deal with. And I'm super thankful that I had people that didn't know me but were willing to come to a city and reach out when other churches had given up on me. I had been in other churches, so they didn't know how to deal with addiction. And it all really comes down to discipleship, that being able to share your life with other people. It's not enough, like we said, to bring a person in for 2 days and say, hey, go have fun with your life, but saying, hey, we have the answer right here. We can take you somewhere tonight and your life can change forever. And that's really what has happened with my life, is I became a part of a family up in Cincinnati. And that's why my life's blessed. It's not just because I went to an event, but because, I listened and followed up and said, hey, I need to do something now. This isn't enough. I know that now I have to do something. If I just go back to the same area that I'm from, or if I just go back to the drug-infested house that I'm sleeping in, that it's going to be time and I'm going to be back on drugs again. So I look at my life today, and there's no way that I would be. I had dreams, I had dreams of being in ministry and having a wife and having a job, but those things just seem so far-fetched because just resources were scarce. There wasn't many places that you could go. It's like I could get a job, but how long could I keep it being in the position I'm in? What kind of woman wants to spend their life with someone who goes back and forth between drugs their whole life? No one wants to do that. So the only reason my life is where it is today is because of Hope Over Heroin. And I'm known by a lot of church communities, but just church isn't what saved my life. It was committing myself to men of God and allowing them to disciple. My life is, there's no telling, it's not about bringing in thousands, though we want thousands, but if you get one person that gets it, says, man, I believe in what's going on here, that I impact 40 men on a daily basis. And, sometimes I don't recognize, because I do it every day, the influence that the people that I'm having it on. And it's people who are just looking for hope, saying, man, if God could do something for him, then he's got to be able to do something for me.
And, the question is sometimes, Steve, that people ask in churches is, well, what exactly do we get for our money? Well, I just hope those pastors that ask those questions never have their own people ask them what they get for their money. Because we know what we get for the money that churches give us. We get souls. And the question is, how much is your child worth? We don't ask much from churches. We ask in a city, maybe 30 churches come together and each church come with a $500 offering. Well, you know what? I think my child's worth $500. I think I'd pay $500 to see my son saved from certain death and on his way to heaven. I think I would do that. And you know what? We reach more than 30 people in the smallest of cities we go to. So we go to small, teeny, tiny towns, and we're baptizing more than that. We're reaching people more than that. We're connecting them to a church that they really care. And, that's what, Josh and Kiko Schultz, they're pastors. And I'd like to hear their perspective real quick of why they as pastors are part of a ministry and they give up all kinds of time and effort to do this. I'd really like to know. I'd like them to get that out there for people.
Well, I'd say, one of the things that most of the time the church has a building and they set up shop and they kind of say to the community, come and get it if you would like. But the reality is, kind of Cody alluded to, is that the lost are not beating your door down. And if you go back to the scripture, there's no place where that's what they did and that's what they expected. Well, Jesus said, go, and so you can sit behind your building, and hope that people show up. But you got to think, how many churches in the entirety of the nation, how many churches baptize 275 people in a weekend? It just doesn't happen. And so when I look at it, I think, where could we invest our money? And I think, also what you're talking about is you're talking about taking like a spectacle type of an event, and you're taking it into not the stadium, but you're taking it into the worst part of town. You're looking for the people that, according to the scriptures, Jesus was a friend of. And so that's who you're looking for. And you're finding them in that place. And it's like, this is why we exist. This is why. We don't exist just to have meetings. We exist to change culture, to change the world, to turn this thing. I mean, in the book of Acts, it says that they turned the world upside down. And they didn't do that just because they were sitting in the synagogue. They did that because they went out to where the world was at. And so that's why we are involved in. I'd say as a pastor, even I used to be a youth pastor, and I would say this is an incredible event for a youth ministry to jump in and be a part of. We have a stage set up that is world class with lighting and video and everything. We have bands that come in that are incredible, that play on that stage. And your young people can be a part of the beforehand, reaching out and touching people on the street. They can serve in some capacity at the event. They get to witness as the gospel is preached. They get to watch people being baptized right on the spot. I mean, this is... there's really nothing that I've ever seen that's like it. I remember the guy, the lead singer from Disciple, and when he looked out off the stage and saw that we were baptizing people right on the spot, I remember his word, "This is the coolest thing that I have ever been involved in my life." And because that's what is happening. It's happening right on the spot. And then those people are able also to be funneled in to the churches that participate. They're able to be funneled into rehabilitation ministries, and they're getting their lives changed. And you think about a guy like Cody, and you talk about if you knew his family background, and now you see him. What you're going to see is he's going to have children and his children's children, and they will never walk down that path. They'll never go down that path. History has changed, and that's why we go.
Amazing. So it's a 2-day event, but the discipleship aspect of it, it's more than just that 2 days, right? It's always ongoing because it's all set up, right? As you said, funnel churches and the programs, and make it all work.
We have seen incredible organizations like Teen Challenge that have been a part of every single one of our events. We've seen incredible programs like Darlene Bishop Home for Women that have just done incredible stuff. And with those women, that's a huge void. They fill an incredible position because there's not a lot of places for women to go to. Teen Challenge has a women's program too, but very small. And so we're trying to scrape together through literally based on faith, trying to get people help who really this is what we're called to do. We're called to go to the broken, like we heard tonight. The gospel message is meant to be preached to the broken, and it's not enough to say, well, theoretically everybody's broken. Some people are really broken and they know they're broken. So that's a totally different thing than just saying, well, we're all broken. We get that. All of us are sinners. But some people know that they are sinners and they really feel like they have nobody there on their side. That's where the power of the kindness of the gospel comes in. And when they hear the message of salvation, which is what it's all about, it's incredible to watch that happen. So that's really what we've become addicted to. The fact that we take a message to people which is about their sin, and these people respond to a message about their sin and the fact that Jesus died for the purpose of giving them access to God. And when that happens, we love to see that happen. We love to be a part of that, and it breaks all of us down once again and gives us added reason to to be able to do what we're doing. So the dates that we're actually going to be doing this 9th, and Steve, you can go ahead and maybe ask these guys some of the questions about how to get involved and everything.
Yeah, how to get involved is the key point. So, Rock, want to handle that? How can everybody that's heard this message and understands this is powerful, we want to make an impact?
Yeah, I mean, wherever you're watching tonight, you can be involved. First of all, you can go to hopeoverheroin.com. There's a volunteer page there. Specifically for this event, we're looking for kindness outreach. We got some of those coming up the next several weeks. Sunday, May 27th, Sunday, June 3rd, and Thursday, June 7th. If you are interested in that, it's going to be kindness outreach to the neighborhoods in Middletown, Ohio, making people to allow an event to come to that city. They have to lay down some groundwork. It'll be from 4 to 6 p.m. in those evenings. That way they can go out and be able to see the people and meet them where they're at. And then if you have an event coming to your area, you can be involved. Even if you don't have an event coming to your area, you want to challenge your area to plan an event, that's also there at hopeoverheroin.com. There's volunteer places, there's places to pray, there's places to donate. There's some cities that are able, to be able to go above and beyond financially, but then there's some areas and some cities that can't. So if you have an ability to donate, please do. Even if it's your time or just prayers, we covet those also.
That's awesome. Do you guys have anything else to add at this point? Because we've covered what it is, the testimonies that have come out of it, and I'm really inspired by not only the testimonies, but the heart of everybody that's getting involved there, because that's really the key. It's not just showing up for 2 days. It is a life-changing event. Any last words before we wrap it up?
We've done about 30 cities in the last 4 years, 4 seasons of what we've been able to see God do. And so that's about 60 nights that we've been able to see the power of God touch, just even if it's just one heart. And every city has its own story, but I know that God wants to do something in Middletown. We've got some great churches up there, and we know that there are pastors up there whose hearts have been bleeding for a long time to help in this area. So we want to be able to go up and lift up their hands. That's actually what we're doing. What Hope Over Heroin is going to be in Middletown. It will be the biggest outreach in Middletown, Ohio this year. There's absolutely not a doubt about it. So why anybody wouldn't want to be involved in that and be a part of what God's doing, even if there's nothing they can quantify from this, if they're a member of the body of Christ and they can come out and show their support for a couple of days, my God, what does that mean in eternity? I don't think any one of us can actually declare truthfully that we would think that nothing would come from that. If we actually believe in Jesus, and we actually believe that if we take the gospel to the streets, that souls will be set free, then this is your opportunity to come and be a part of this. The only one's going to get the glory for this is Jesus Christ. It's not going to be an organization. It's not even going to be an individual church. It's going to be Jesus that gets the glory for it. So thank you for watching us tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah, no matter where you're watching, whether it's the Facebook page or whatever medium it is, be sure to connect Hope Over Heroin and get yourself involved. It's my first season. Really excited to be a part of the whole event. Thank you guys. Thanks for listening.
See y'all.